Hi, my name's Amanda, and I met Bradley with Grounds for Compassion back in April of 2014. And at that point in my life, I had not been following Christ, but I had felt a strong conviction from Him to do that. And this is going to be so hard. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a big tear ball. Okay. I was just truly lost. I mean, lost in all ways in my life, and felt God calling on me. Had been calling to me to come into the church, and I didn't even know how to even do that, just to walk in. And then the past I had in the church, I was raised in different churches throughout my life. So all of my experiences with church when I was younger were never full of, or I never felt like God's love or presence was actually in the church. Just felt that it was full of hypocrisy, judgment, and God's love just was not felt. So I have always been a very spiritual person. I mean, I could always feel the spiritual world around me, and at the point that I could not connect with the church, and I started looking to other religions, just researching, just wanting to understand. I mean, I've always questioned, and there was never anyone around, or the church even, that could really answer the tough questions that I had, even about, I guess, God and Jesus and all of them in my past. And at some point started reaching out and researching religions, like I said, and looked into and got involved in witchcraft. Was not like a practicing witch or anything, but it interested me because of the love that they had for nature and for the spiritual world and just the surroundings. So it did draw me in. So based on my past, I did not ever think I would step into a church ever again. And when I met Bradley at Grounds for Compassion in 2014, they had opened a coffee shop at Quail Springs Mall, and I went there probably daily for lunch and had noticed them setting up and opening the coffee shop. I'd walk by every day and I could hear this voice saying, go talk to them, go into the coffee shop, which really should be easy since I love coffee. But you know, I was always busy, always on a time schedule. It was always my lunch break, and I was always trying to get back to work to get to the next meeting. I just never had time, I thought. So one day I finally stopped. I went in just to see what bean they carried, because I made coffee at home, and I thought, hey, it would be nice to get beans since they're here. I could maybe get it from them or see where they get their beans from. And so I went in and I had asked one of the baristas, Janelle, and she told us the story. I said, so where do you get your beans from? And she says, actually, we roast the beans. We do it here. And then I started to question her, surely you don't roast the beans. I know of all the roasters in town. I've never heard of you guys. And she said, yeah, we've been around for years doing this. And you just may not be aware because the other coffee shops may sell the bean. I remember going home that night, like I said, and telling my mother of this amazing work that they're doing. And I said, how could I do this ministry? How could I be part of a ministry without having to step into a church? And she kind of laughed at me and said, honey, that's just not possible. And she said, I don't know what your problem is and why you will not go back into the church. And it's just, I had been so hurt by the church in the past, I couldn't bring myself to do it. And then from that point forward, I just kept going back to the coffee shop every day. I mean, something was just drawing me back every single day. I would go back to the coffee shop and take work there some days and sit down, and it just felt so good to be in God's presence, because you could feel His love just in that coffee shop. I never felt that in my past in any of these churches that I went to. I had such a fear of stepping back into a church. I didn't want to be disappointed because of, you know, God's presence that I'd felt in my life, just stepping into this coffee shop and spending time there with Bradley and the baristas, and they truly were ministering to people there in the coffee shop. I think this is like in September around my birthday, I remember. I knew that I was like, this weekend, I wanted to go to church. So I started looking for churches online to go to and researching just kind of their story, their history, their beliefs. And there was a church in Moore that I ran across called Harvest Church in Norman. It was a battle getting to church. I mean, the devil fought us basically the whole way there. But we stepped in, and once we got into the church house, just to feel God's presence, and then something in me just broke at that point. I mean, to feel God's love wash over me, and mentally I hadn't even caught up to it yet. Just to step in and feel your heart just break open and tears just streaming from your eyes, and you don't even understand why at this point, because I wasn't as far along in my relationship with Christ as I am now. And I knew I had hit something, and so the first time my husband did not attend church with me. And it was a big deal for me, for my husband to be on this journey with me. The next Sunday, I was trying to get him to go, and he didn't want to go. He just fought me about it, and I didn't even understand why. And, you know, I went to bed and prayed that night to God. I said, please. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to pray, and I said, please, you know, he has to be on this journey with me. Please, you know, get him to go. And then the next morning, he woke up, and he's like, yeah, I'm going. Like, yesterday had never even happened. This fight that we had was just gone. And it was just amazing. So after I had attended church for a couple of weeks, God put it on my heart to get baptized, and I really wanted to, and love the fact that my church did the water baptism. I remember I was so excited that week. I was coming into the coffee shop and telling Bradley and Janelle that I'm getting baptized this Sunday, and I am so, so excited. And I remember they prayed with me to make sure that, you know, it was a wonderful experience and to really feel the transformation in my life. And it was really amazing, not only that I got baptized, I remember my husband said, I'm going to get baptized with you. I mean, I never asked him to, I just told him I'm getting baptized, and he said, really? Yes, I'm doing it. I'm doing it next Sunday when they do this. I'm signing up. And he said, well, I'm going to sign up too. And I just remember being in shock, and I love the fact that God knows it's important for my family to be with me on this spiritual journey, because I'm a very family-oriented person, and I love the fact that God has pulled my whole family into this journey, and that we're all going through this spiritual journey and connecting with Him together. So recently have got back in contact with my brother and my sister-in-law, and they've started attending church with us. And it's amazing to look around on Sundays now, because I mean, our family, my entire family, immediate, and I mean, I have my aunt, my uncle, my brother, sister-in-law, my 2 cousins, my grandma, my husband, my kids. I mean, we're all there together at church. 3 rows of my family is with us, I mean, with me and my family at church, and it's amazing, and it's such a blessing to look around and to see God's love and how He's restored that in our family and brought us back together. And I just think back to that day that, you know, I just kept passing by the coffee shop. If I would have not stopped and gone in, I mean, where would I be? Since I would never step back into a church, never. I mean, I would never even imagine I'd be back in a church. But I stepped into that coffee shop, and that's when everything changed. God came to me, and He found me there. And I am so thankful and blessed that He came to me.